Okay. Bezrat Hashem Yitbarach. Okay, so we are on Daf Lamed Vav Amud Aleph on the top. We were discussing yesterday, we were finishing off yesterday, that if a person, he buys from a goy, he buys a field from a goy, so in this case, he no longer has the chazakah of after 3 years. Why? Because the goy himself, we're not sure where his chazakah comes in from. So in this case, we don't believe him even after 3 years because he bought it from the goy. However, said the Gemara, if the Israel says that the goy told him that he bought it from a Jew, so then the Israel is believed to say that the goy told him this thing. Says the Gemara, we're the second line from the top. Mi ikamidi di ilu akum amar lo meheman. Vi ilu amar Israel mishme de akum meheman. Is it possible that the goy, he says something, we don't believe him, and then the Israel says something in the name of the goy, we believe him? It doesn't make sense. Ela amar Rava, Rava says, I amar Israel kame didi zavna akum minach, v'zavna ni hali meheman. Migud I bai Elmaleh, ana zivinta minach. Says the Gemara, no, there's a difference. Over here, it's a different case. What was the case? That the Israel says that that the goy bought the field from you in front of me.
So he becomes a witness.
So not only he becomes not that he becomes a witness. Now the Israel, he has a migu. What can he say? He can say that, I bought the field directly from you.
He will take it from both of them.
No, the Israel says, I bought again, Reuven owned the field originally. The goy, he came and he bought the field. Okay, after the goy came to bought the field, Shimon comes and buys the field from the goy. However, Shimon was there when Reuven sold it to the goy. So what can Shimon say now? Shimon can say, hey, I bought the field directly from you. Why? Because he saw the whole sale. It happened in front of him. So now we're not relying on the goy, even though he's saying, I bought the thing in front from the goy. But since he could have said something that he would have been believed, migu, he could have said that, I bought it from the east side directly. And then the east side, what is he going to say? No, you didn't. Yeah, but he could still claim it. Then everyone's going to have to believe him. Okay? So in this case, the reason why he's believed is not because he's saying it in the name of the goy, rather because he has what's called migu, that he could have said a better claim. He could have said a better claim, and he said a lesser claim. So he says, believe me, because if I wanted, I could have said something that you had to believe me. So at least believe me for this little bit. So, Ve'amar Yehuda, Hai man denakit magla v'tovalia, ve'amar izil igzere ledikla deplania dezamante mine meheman. Says Rabbi Yehuda, if a person, he has in his hand, he has a let's call it a saw. Magal is normally a sickle. It could be actually, because over here we're talking about based on the previous Gemara, it's talking about dates. Over here it says dikla, the actual tree. But so what does he say? He says, I have the rope in my hand, I have the sickle, I'm going to this person's tree to cut the fruit. Why? Because I bought it from him. In this case, he's believed to say that. Why is he believed to say that? Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara. Lo chatzif inish lemigzal ledikra delav dile. It doesn't make sense. A person is not going to have such chutzpah to go in front of everyone and cut someone else's thing. So if he's saying that I'm going to do it. Why? Because I bought it. He probably did, because again, for someone to have such chutzpah, such brazenness, it's very hard to believe. So the probability is that it's true. Okay. Yeah.
Not necessarily, because that way around. If he knows the landlord is not there, and he wants to show everybody, you see, it's mine, and there's nobody to protest. That way around, he will make it like to show. It's a show to show everybody. You see, it's mine.
Very good. But what happens when the owner comes back?
Obviously,
when the owner comes back, and then he's gonna get it back in his face. Everyone's gonna see, look what a liar he is. He's gonna be pasule edut. He's gonna. So a person understands that if it's so easy for him to be proven a liar, he's not gonna do it. Right? The Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Hayman de'arzik miguda de'arode ulvar lo have chazaka. Back in the day, sometimes what they would do is a person has a field, let's say it in meters, just to understand the concept. Okay, he has a field of 100 meters. Okay, 100 square meters. However, the person, where does he put his fence? He doesn't put the fence 100 square meters. He puts the fence at 95 square meters, for example. Meaning he leaves a buffer of a couple of meters between what his field actually is and where he's going to start planting and put the fence. Why? Because a lot of times what happens is you have wild animals. They come, right? Now, in order to trick the wild animals, what does he do? He doesn't really take the effort to fully plant the area outside of the fence. But what he does is he throws some seeds so that there can be some things that grow. This way, when the animals come, what happens? They have some food to eat. They eat this food and they leave what's in the field alone, right? So this is called the Guda is the fence. The Arode for the Arod. Arod is like a wild donkey. Ulvar and outward. So there's that small buffer of the field that a person has. And in this case, if a person comes along and is muhzak in this part of the field, it's not considered to be a chazaka. Okay, lo have chazaka. Says the Gemara, my tama, what's the reason why that's not considered to be chazaka? Memar amar, kor dezara, nami arod achlile. Because the person, what does he say? Look at this guy. He's helping me. Why? Because whatever he's gonna plant, the arodim, the wild donkey or the wild animals, they're gonna come and eat from whatever he plants. So what do I care? That's why he's never gonna protest. What did we see yesterday? We said yesterday that if a person sees someone planting in his field, what does he have to do? He has to protest, because if he doesn't protest, the guy can say chazakah. However, here, even if it's after the 3 years, he wouldn't protest. Why won't he protest?
Because the field is really protected.
No, because the guy is doing him a favor. The guy over here, again, it makes sense. The fact that he put the buffer of the field for what? For the animals. And then it's something that is done. It's not something that people don't do. It's something that is done. So he says, "Oh, what do I care if this guy's planting here? Let him plant, and then the animals are going to come and eat it anyways, right?" So that's why he's not protesting. Normally, in a normal field, when someone comes into your field and starts planting in the field, what do? Hey, get out of here. It's my field, right? Over here, it's outside of his field, but it's still his property, but it's outside of his field. He sees someone planting there. What is he going to do?
Right. Yeah. You missed 2 words. These 2 words change everything for us. Okay.
Okay, he sees someone planting there. What is he going to do? He's going to say, leave him alone. What? He's planting. He's helping me out. On the contrary, the animals, when they're going to come, they're going to have more to eat because this guy is planting more. So that's why even after 3 years, he would never really protest. He's never really going to make a protest, because for him, it's convenient for him. So the fact that he didn't protest doesn't mean that it belongs to him. It just means that it was more convenient for him to allow this guy to plant. Okay. The Amar Rav Yehuda, achla orla, ena chazaka. If the person comes and he's eating from the field within the first 3 years of planting, this is also not considered to be chazaka. Now, it's important to know that normally when you first plant anything, it's a fruit, it's not a tree, because orla is only in trees. When you plant a tree the first year, it's not going to give fruit. So how is it possible that he's planting and the guy's eating orla for 3 years?
No, 3 years for the third.
No, 3 years. He has to eat 3 years, because that's how you do the chazakah, right? How do you have something like that? Because even if a person, what happens is that many times what you have ready plants. You have a tree that is ready, right? And you take this tree, you uproot the tree, and then you put it in another place, right? There are halachot that say that sometimes it's considered, sometimes it's not considered. But there are halachot that says sometimes in this case you would have to start counting the 3 years from the new time that you planted it. Even though it's a fully grown tree, you uprooted it, you brought it over with the atzit she'eino nakuf. You brought it over to a different place and you planted it there. The 3 years they start again. So here's how you can have fruit, even though for 3 years, even though it's already a fully grown tree. So this is not considered to be ola. Why not? Tanya namihachi. There's a braita that supports this. So if a person eats ola for 3 years, it's not considered to be chazakah. Tanya namihachi. There's a braita to support this. Achla ola shevi'it v'kilaim. If a person eats ola or of shevi'it or of kilaim, right? How do you have shevi'it? You can also have shevi'it because shevi'it can also be followed by yovel. You can have shevi'it, you can have yovel, and then what grows afterwards, right? You were not allowed to plant during the shemitah. So whatever grows afterwards also has a sort of kedusha. So that's how you can have 3 years. So if a person eats from any of those, ena chazakah, it's not considered to be a chazakah. Okay. Amar Rav Yosef, achla shachat la have chazakah.
The principle is not chazakah because what? Because it's illegal or because
a person won't protest. If a person sees exactly, so it doesn't make sense. Like if a person sees him eating olah, why is he going to protest? It's olah. He doesn't care. Let him. He's doing an avera. What difference does it make? Oh. Amar Rav Yosef, achla shachat lo have chazakah. If a person eats shachat is when the grain is not yet fully grown. Okay, it's only partially grown. So if a person eats 3 years from shachat, it's not considered to be chazakah. Okay, why? Because it's not normal to eat something like that. So when everyone around sees him eating the shachat, everyone sees him eating the not ready grain, then they understand that something is not correct. They understand that he's not doing it. So he says, "Oh, it belongs to me." They're going to tell him, "Yeah, why did you eat shachat?" Okay. However, Amar Rava, v'i b'tzavar mechuza, if it was in a place called tzavar mechuza, kaima, if the field was in that type of in that city, have chazakah. It's considered to be chazakah. The Rashbam, he says why? He says because this place, the people were very rich. Okay, he says the people were very rich. So what would people do? They would have special fields to grow shachat. Now the what? Not for the poor people. Shachat is what they would give to the animals. They would give it for animals. So these people, they were so rich, they would have special fields that they would use just to grow food to give the animals to eat. So if we see him collecting the shachat in this type of place, it's not anymore something not normal. It's perfectly normal. Okay? So in that case, that's why in this case, if he eats shachat for 3 years straight, it's going to be considered chazakah because in this place it's normal to eat to cut by the shachat. Okay? Amar Rav Nachman, tiftecha lahave chazakah. Okay, he says if a person uses broken land, right? It's not considered to be a chazakah. Okay, afikura ve'ayil kura lahave chazakah. Or if the land you plant a certain measurement, and it grows the same measurement that you planted, this is also not considered to be a chazakah. Meaning, if a person plants in such a field for 3 years, it's not considered to be chazakah. Why? Because since whatever he's planting, whatever he put in, he's getting back without any profit, right? It's a field that doesn't give any profit to the person that's planting in it. So the person, he doesn't take the effort to protest, which means that if he sees someone planting it in 3 years, he's not going to make the effort to go out and to publicize, this guy stole my field. Why? Because it's not something that he's losing out because whatever. So in this case, we say that even though he didn't protest within the 3 years, it doesn't mean that it doesn't belong to him. It just it wasn't worth the effort for him to go on to protest. Okay. V'hani debe resh galuta lo machzike ban velo machzikinan ba. So you can call them this group of people. They were called Beresh Galuta. What was the Beresh Galuta? They were, in a way, they were the descendants of the I don't know if they were all the descendants of David HaMelech, but they were the house of the Nisi'im, right? And they were the head of the Galut, meaning they were the important people of the Galut. Them, it wasn't considered to be a chazakah if they're in the field for 3 years, or if someone holds their field for 3 years. Meaning, if someone goes into their type of fields, plants it for 3 years, that's not considered chazakah. And if they plant in someone else's field for 3 years, they don't either have a chazakah. So whenever it comes to them, you always have to have the shtar, even after 3 years. Why? These Beresh Galuta, they were known to be crooked. They were known to be always not. They were known to be strong arms. What would that mean? They would come, they would take something, and then they would say, it belongs to us. Go fight us against in court. Now they own the whole court system, right? They owned everything. They were in charge of everything. So what do they care if the guy goes to court, he goes fights them, and they're going to win anyways, right?
They left in America today.
I don't want to get into politics, but you guys, I'm sure you guys are smart enough to figure things out on your own. But that's basically the concept is since they were in power, they did whatever they wanted without any fear of legal repercussions, right? So even if they had a field for 3 years, it wasn't a sign that they had a chazakah in the field. Why wasn't it a sign that they had chazakah in the field? Because the guy can always come and say, you know why I didn't protest? Because I was afraid these guys are going to cause me trouble.
We had this, we studied it in the teaching where the Goyim were Billionaires.
Exactly. Same concept. Same concept. Same concept. So that's why they don't have chazakah, and you can't get chazakah from these people either. Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, v'ha'avadim, right? That there's also chazakah by avadim. Says the Gemara, avadim yesh lehem chazakah? By avadim they have chazakah. V'ha'amar Resh Lakish hagodrot en lahem chazakah, right? Animals that they go into the pen, en lahem chazakah. There's no chazakah. Why not? Because we're afraid that he just wandered into the field. So just the fact that he's inside the gated fence doesn't mean that it actually belongs to him. Why? Because the animal could have wandered in. Amarava, en lahem chazaka le'alta, but yesh lahem chazaka le'achar shalosh shanim. These animals, even though they could technically wander in, and we said just now that there is no chazaka for these animals, right? However, if the guy has the animal for 3 years, then it's going to be considered chazakah. Why? Because yes, maybe it wandered in, but it's not going to wander in and stay in the same field for 3 years. And the owner, the original owner, is going to obviously say something. If he didn't say something, that means it's probably his and it's a chazakah. No. Amar Rava, im haya katan mutal ba'arisa yesh lo chazakah le'altar. If there was a baby slave, right, a slave, his own. So if it's a katan, a baby one, if he's in the crib, if he's in his crib, wherever the crib is, that's where the chazakah of who he belongs to is. Meaning, Reuven has a baby slave in a crib in his house. He says, this baby slave belongs to me. Shimon says, no, the baby slave belongs to me.
But the house is not important, it's the crib.
Wherever the crib is, that's going to be considered.
The crib is or wherever the baby is?
Wherever the crib with the baby is.
It's two different things.
The crib.
Could be
so go with
in his house, but it's my grandson with my crib, but it's in his house.
Okay,
so
very good.
The house or the crib.
Very good. So it's mostly wherever whichever house the crib is in. Okay, and we're going to see. The Gemara is going to talk about it a little bit more. Says the Gemara, Pshita, obviously, what do you think? Wherever the baby's crib is, that's where the baby belongs. Says the Gemara, Lo tzricha, de'it la ima, he has a mother. Mahu de tema, I would have thought, Nechush dilma ime ayel tele hatam. I would think that maybe what happened was that Shimon had a slave that just gave birth. And he told the slave, go work by Reuven for a little bit. So what did the mother do? She just gave birth. She brought the baby to Reuven's house in the crib, and she left the baby there, and she went back to Shimon. So what happens now? Reuven says, "Hey, exactly." He says, "Oh, look, the baby is here. It belongs to me." But how do you know? Maybe because the slave was maybe it was like that.
That's why I said the crib.
So says the Gemara. What does the Gemara say? What does the Gemara say? Kamash malan, ima lo menashya bera. A mother will never forget her kid like that. A mother is not going to forget her kid. So if the baby is in the crib over there and the mother's, so it for sure means that the baby belongs there, and the mother wouldn't forget a little baby like that. Unfortunately, today though, it's not necessarily the case. Why? We see chaz v'shalom, and Hashem yishmor, people forget their kids in the car. But why is that?
No, that's the Havana.
No, people forget their kids in the car. In Israel, it happens Hashem yishmor.
But that's by mistake. Here is by purpose.
Yeah, no. Here, why doesn't the Gemara say it could have happened by mistake? No. The Gemara says over here that
leaving the bed and go to the order.
No, why purpose? Say maybe she forgot and she went back. Maybe she went back and she forgot her baby. You know what the difference is? Today we are so occupied with shtuyot, we are so occupied with foolish things, we don't pay attention to the things that are really important. Right? Normally a mother, she's never going to forget her kid. But nowadays, unfortunately, Hashem yishmor and Hashem yatzilenu mizeh, that we're so occupied with different things that sometimes we don't pay attention to what's going on. Right? Back then, they had simple lives. They had hard lives, but simple lives. Nowadays, we have comfortable life, but complicated life. Hanu izi de'achlu chulsha b'na'ada. There were these goats that ate someone's chulsha. Chulsha is chushla. It was exactly what Rashbami says, that it was peeled barley. It was peeled barley. He left it out in the sun to dry, and there was these goats that they came and they ate this. It happens. So the owner of these barley came along. Tafsinu, he grabbed the goats. Hava katain tuva, and he said that these goats, they lost him. They caused them a huge loss. Amar Avua de Shmuel, yachol iton ad kedem dmehen. He can claim the full value of up to the full value of the goats, but not more. Because why? Because he could say technically that what the goats belong to him. So now he's for sure believed, at least for the value of the goats.
Ask this person with the authority, did you put the fence to protect it so nobody will come? Obviously,
it was in his property.
Yes, but was it the fence or not fence? Because obviously enemy will come.
So wait till the Gemara in 2 lines is going to explain this. So it says the Gemara, these are what could the guy say? The guy could have said that these goats belong to me, right? Because what did we say? And this is what the Gemara is going to ask in 1 second, that if the animal wanders into the field, it belongs to him. It's probably his animal. So what could he say? He could say, the animal belongs to me. So because I didn't say the animal belongs to me, at least believe me for the value of the animal, that the animal caused this damage.
Like a good type of it.
Exactly. Says the Gemara, wait a second. We have a problem with that. Why? Didn't Resh Lakish say in the beginning when we started this that Godrot, the animals that are in the pen, there is no chazakah for them? Says the Gemara, Shani izi izim. Goats are different. Why? Because goats you give to a ro'eh. They're always under supervision. If they're always under supervision, if they walk into someone else's field, it means that probably they belong in this field. Says the Gemara, don't you have the morning and the evening that what? Back in the day, they used to have a custom that what they would do is they would give, a bunch of people would give a bunch of people would give their goats to one ro'eh. He would take them from a collection point, and he would go to the field throughout the day, and then in the evening he would bring them back to the collection point, and then the goats and or the animals, they would go back on their own to whoever they belong to.
Today we're the same. The dog walker.
So says the Gemara, there's a time. Nachon knows most of the time they're by the ro'eh, but there's a time in the morning and the evening from when they leave their house to go to the ro'eh, and from when they go from the ro'eh, the shepherd to the guy's house, there's a time when they're left unsupervised because they go on their own. Says the Gemara, in Naharda there was a lot of Arab stealers. Okay, what they would do is they would make, because of this problem, they would always make sure to bring it from hand to hand. They would never be unsupervised. So if the goat is on its own in a someone else's field, the guy is able to claim, even according to Resh Lakish, he would be allowed to claim, this is really my goat, and therefore we believe him at least for the value of what the goat is worth, that he caused the damages. So, Rabbi Ishmael Omer, Shlosha Chodashim. We said in the Mishnah, all the way in the beginning of the parak, we said in the Mishnah that you have to have a chazakah for 3 years, right? 3 years.
Yeah, but also
3 years. Now, Rabbi Ishmael, he says that what's the 3 years chazakah? You can have 3 months.
straight, no straight.
3 months of 1 year, a full 12 months of the second year, and then another 3 months of the third year. This is considered to be 3 years, and it's a chazakah. Even though it's only 3 months, so the 3 months is still considered to be 1 year. Rabbi Akiva said, exactly. Rabbi Akiva, if I'm not mistaken, Rabbi Akiva said, even if it's 1 month, 12 months, and 1 month, that's also okay. Says the Gemara, Lema nir ika benayu. Let's say, what's the difference between Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva? Why does Rabbi Ishmael say 3 months and Rabbi Akiva says 30 days? Let's say the difference between them is plowing without having crops grow. Why? What did Rabbi Ishmael say 3 months? Because 3 months is the minimum amount of time to plant something and for it to grow. So he says it has to grow. Why does Rabbi Akiva say 1 month? Says the Gemara attempts to say that why? It's the difference of plowing. That according to Rabbi Akiva, even just plowing the field is considered to be already a chazakah, and therefore, even if it's only 1 month, it's going to be okay. Says the Gemara, the Rabbi Ishmael savar nir lo have chazakah. Rabbi Ishmael says that just plowing the field is not going to be considered chazakah. Rabbi Akiva savar nir have chazakah. Rabbi Akiva says nir, plowing the field, is going to be considered a chazakah. Says the Gemara, does that even make sense to you? The Rabbi Akiva, my chodesh, afilu, says the Gemara, if that's the case, if you're saying that Rabbi Akiva says that plowing is enough, why does he need to be 1 full month before? Afilu yom echad nami. Even 1 day is enough to plow the field. If you say that the difference between Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva is plowing the field, why does Rabbi Akiva need a full month? 1 day should be enough, because plowing you can plow the field in 1 day. Afilu yom echad nami, ela dekuli alma nir lo have chazakah. Says the Gemara, plowing is not going to be considered chazakah. Vehacha pera rabba upera zutra ika benayu. The difference is if there is if you have to wait for the crop to fully grow, or you have to wait for the crop even to partially grow. That's what's going to be considered the chazakah. Meaning, according to Rabbi Ishmael says you need 3 months. Why do you need 3 months? Because you need for the fruit to fully grow, right? And Rabbi Akiva is going to say 1 month. Why does he say 1 month? Because as long as it partially grows, that's already considered to be the chazakah. Okay. Tanu Rabbanan, Nil eno chazakah. Plowing is not considered to be chazakah. V'yesh omrim, and there are those that say, Harei ze chazakah, it's considered to be chazakah. Says the Gemara, Man yesh omrim. Who is this yesh omrim that says plowing is considered to be chazakah? Amar Rav Chazda, Rav Acha, it's Rav Acha. Detanya, Nara Shana. he plowed it for 1 year. Vizara bet, and he plants it for 2, meaning he only plowed it the first year, and then he plants it for 2. Nara bet, or if he plows it for 2 years straight, Vizara shana, and he plants it for 1 year, ena chazaka, it's not considered to be chazaka. Rabbi Acha omer, harezu chazaka. Rabbi Acha says it's considered to be chazaka, even though one of the years was only plowing, or at least one of the years was only plowing. According to Rabbi Acha just said it's still considered to be chazaka. Amar Ramashi, she'elit kol gedolei hador. I asked all the gedolei hador, ve'amruni, and they told me, nir harei ze chazaka. Plowing is considered to be chazaka. Amar Rav Bibi le Rav Nachman, ma'itama demand amar nir harei chazaka. What's the reason? According to the man Amal, it says Nil is considered to be chazaka. Says the Gemara, Lo avid inish dikrivu le le'ar'eh v'shati. A person is not going to let someone that's going to start plowing his land, he's going to start making holes in his land without protesting. What are you doing? You're coming here to make me holes in the field. Who said I want to plow it this way? Maybe I want to plow it some other way.
If that happened to be that it's the season, that this is the time of this particular crop and it's perfect and it does exactly what you want to.
Umay ta'ama deman de'amar nir. That's you jump to the Gemara. Umay ta'ama deman de'amar de'amar nir lo have chazaka. What's the reasoning according to the man de'amar that says plowing is not considered to be chazaka? Memar amar kol shiavo v'shiavo dekarvo ve'la'ayl be. Okay, exactly what you said. What do I care? He's doing me a favor. He's plowing me the field. Let him plow the field. This guy he's working for me for free. Okay? That's why he doesn't protest when he sees the guy doing it. So the place was called Fum Nara, right? So they sent to Rav Nachman bar Rav Chazda. שלחו לבני פום נערה לרב נחמן בר רב חסדא, ילמדנו רבנו נירה הווה חזקה or lo have chazaka. So they said, please tell us the halacha. Is plowing considered to be chazaka or not considered to be chazaka? What? It doesn't matter. They asked him the halacha. So generally, when the Gemara says Rav, when there's a name Rav, it's in Bavel. Rabbi is Israel.
חשבתי לא רבי, חשבתי ריבי, בנקודה למטה, בהתחלה לא בפסק. אבל לא משנה, אתה צריך לעשות ככה, אז ככה הוא בלובי.
Okay. Well, what difference does it make for you? Huh?
It's a big difference, because that means that in Bavel, they didn't know the Arafot is in Israel, so it's always going to be Arafot like Israel.
For that, no, he happened to be there. They asked him. Okay. Okay. So, anyways, they were asking Rav Nachman. They weren't asking Rav Chazda. They were asking Rav Nachman. It's Rav Nachman bar Rav Chazda.
Yeah.
So they were asking Rav Nachman. Okay. So they asked him, tell us the halacha. Is it considered to be chazaka or not considered to be chazaka? Amar lehu Rav Acha v'chol gedolei hador amri nir have chazaka. So he said, Rav Acha and all the gedolei hador, like what we saw previously, that what was it the thing? Rav Ashi, yeah. Rav Ashi said that all the gedolei hador said that it's considered to be chazaka. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, levuta lemichshav gavre. This is you're just throwing names, and this is enough to be considered the halacha. Why? Rav v'Shmuel beBavel, v'Rabbi Ishmael v'Rabbi Akiva be'Eretz Yisrael. Amri nir lo have chazaka. No, but over here he says you have Rabbanim from Bavel and you have Rabbanim from Eretz Yisrael. You have Rabbanim from both places, two of them, which means already Chachamim, right? That both of them say that, or all four of them say that plowing is not considered to be chazakah, right? How do we see that? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva matnitin he. Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva, both of them were Eretz Yisrael, right? And in our Mishnah, what do we see? From our Mishnah, we see that they hold that plowing is not considered to be chazakah. Rabbi Ishmael is obvious. Why? Because he holds 3 months. Rabbi Akiva also. Why? Because he says 1 month instead of just 1 day. Okay. Rav says the Gemara, but how do we see Rav and Shmuel also hold that plowing is not considered to be chazakah? Rav Mahi. Where do we see that Rav holds that plowing is not considered to be chazakah? The Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, Zu divrei Rabbi Ishmael ורבי עקיבא. אבל חכמים אומרים, חזקתה 3 שנים מיום ליום, ליום לימותי מאי. What do we have to say? מיום ליום, ליום לימותי מאי, לאו לימותי ניר. So, again, what does Rav say? Rav says, and this is something that Rav said, he said, when Chachamim said miyom liyom, what was the extra yom for? Coming to exclude plowing. So we see Rav said that the reason why they said miyom liyom is to exclude plowing. So this is Rav's opinion, very clear that Rav said that it's excluding plowing. That plowing is not considered to be chazakah. Okay? That plowing is not considered to be chazakah. Shmuel Mahi says the Gemara. How do you know Shmuel that Shmuel says that it's not considered that plowing is not considered to be chazakah? The Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel. Zu devrei Rabbi Ishmael v'Rabbi Akiva. In the Mishnah it's Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva. אבל חכמים אומרים עד שיגדור 3 גדרות ויבצור 3 בצירות וימסוק 3 מסיקות. That he's exactly. So he says either 3 food cycles of dates, right? Igdor, Gidirot is for the dates, Bitzirot is for the grapes, Misikot is for the olives. So you need 3 cycles of that. So technically the Gemara is asking right now, that comes out to basically be the same thing as Rav, right? What would the difference be between Rav and Shmuel right now? What did Rav say? Rav said, no, Chachamim say you need miyom liyom for 3 years. What did Shmuel say? Shmuel said also you need 3 years consecutive cycles of gathering, right? So it's basically the same thing. Says the Gemara, my benayu, what's the difference between Rav and Shmuel? Amar Abaye, dekel nara ika benayu. Says, what's the difference between him? According to Shmuel, Shmuel said that it depends on the 3 cycles. However, when it depends on the 3 cycles, according to Shmuel, what can happen? By the dates, since the dates they give fruits very quickly, it can be technically even slightly less than 3 years.
So there,
and that's going to still be 3 cycles. So again, Rav says you need 3 years mamash. Shmuel says you need 3 cycles of things, but 3 cycles of dates can be shorter than 3 years. So that's going to be the difference between Rav and Shmuel. Okay, we'll stop over here. Amen ve'amen.
Bava. Thank you.